My mom sold my late wife's wedding ring to pay for my sister's divorce lawyer, said I needed to move on anyway, and my kids don't need reminders of their mother. Now sister lost custody and mom wants me to let them all move in with me. My mom broke into my house while I was at work and took my late wife's wedding ring from the lockbox in my closet to pawn for $800 to help pay my sister's divorce lawyer. She told me over text like it was nothing. Got the money for Sarah's retainer. Used Rachel's ring. You need to move on anyway and the boys don't need reminders of their dead mother around. My wife died 2 years ago from cancer. She was 29. Our sons were 4 and 6 then. That ring was the only piece of jewelry she ever cared about because her grandmother gave it to her before she passed. It wasn't expensive but it meant everything. I kept it in a lockbox specifically so I could give it to one of the boys when they got older. I called my mom immediately. She answered like I was being unreasonable. You're being dramatic, she said. Sarah needed help and you wouldn't give it to her. Because Sarah cheated on her husband with his brother and I'm not funding that train wreck, I said. And you stole from me. That's a felony. I have a key for emergencies. This was an emergency. Breaking into my house and stealing my dead wife's ring is not a goddamn emergency. She hung up on me. I called the pawn shop. They said they couldn't hold it without police involvement because it was a legal sale. So I filed a police report. The detective said because my mom had a key I'd given her years ago for emergencies with the kids it was complicated but the fact she admitted in text to taking it without permission helped. My mom called me screaming that I was trying to get her arrested. I told her to return the ring or face charges. She said she already gave the money to my sister's lawyer and couldn't get it back. My sister called next. You're really going to send mom to jail over a cheap ring? Rachel's dead. She doesn't need it. My sons need it, I said. And if it's so cheap, why'd mom steal it? She called me an asshole and hung up. 2 days later my mom showed up at my door with my sister. My mom was crying saying she'd try to get the ring back but the pawn shop already sold it. She offered to pay me back in installments. I told her I wanted a cashier's check for $2,000, the actual value of the ring based on what I found online for similar vintage rings, or I wasn't dropping the charges. She lost it, started screaming that I was punishing her for helping family. That Rachel would be ashamed of me. That I was using my grief as an excuse to be cruel. My sister jumped in. You have money. You could have helped me but you wanted me to lose my kids because your bitter Rachel died and I still have my life. I told them both to get out. My mom tried to push past me to go inside saying she wanted to see her grandsons. I physically blocked the door and told her she wasn't welcome near my kids anymore. She tried to shove me. My neighbor saw the whole thing and called the cops. When the police arrived my mom told them I was keeping her from her grandbabies and that I'd attacked her. The neighbor corrected her immediately. The cops told my mom to leave and that she was lucky I wasn't filing assault charges on top of the theft. Here's where it gets worse. Last week my sister's divorce was finalized. She lost primary custody. The judge cited her infidelity and unstable living situation since she'd been staying with my mom. My brother-in-law got the house and the kids except for supervised visits. Now my mom and sister want to move into my house. They showed up yesterday with suitcases. My mom said she was selling her condo to help pay my sister's child support and legal bills and they had nowhere to go. She said I owed them after destroying their lives with the police report, even though the DA declined to prosecute after she paid me the $2,000. I told them no. My mom started crying saying I was abandoning family when they needed me most. My sister said if I had any decency I'd help her get back on her feet so she could fight for custody of her kids. I closed the door in their faces. My aunt called me this morning saying I'm being cruel and that my mom sacrificed everything to help my sister and I should be helping too instead of holding grudges. She said my wife would want me to forgive and help family. But my wife would never have stolen from me or disrespected her memory like that. And my mom didn't sacrifice anything. She stole from my kids and tried to erase their mother. Am I the butthole for refusing to let them move in after everything they did? My mom showed up at my son's elementary school yesterday trying to check them out early. The front office called me immediately because I'd already updated their authorized pickup list after everything that happened. The secretary said my mom told them there was a family emergency and she needed to get the boys right away. When they asked her to wait while they called me, she started yelling that I was being vindictive and keeping her from her grandsons over a misunderstanding. I left work and got there in 20 minutes. My mom was sitting in the office looking smug like she'd won something. The principal was there too. There's no emergency, I told them. She's not authorized to pick up my children. My mom's face went red. I have rights as their grandmother. You have nothing, I said. You stole from them and tried to assault me. You don't get access to my kids. The principal asked us to take it outside. In the parking lot my mom grabbed my arm hard enough to leave marks and said I was poisoning my sons against their family. That Rachel would be disgusted with the father I'd become. I pulled away and told her if she came near my kids again I'd file for a restraining order. She left but not before screaming that I'd regret this. That night my sister started a Facebook post about me. Didn't use my name but made it obvious. Said her brother abandoned his struggling single mother sister and their elderly mother when they needed help most. That I valued money over family and was using my dead wife as an excuse to be cruel. That I had plenty of room in my house but chose to let them be homeless out of spite. The comments were exactly what she wanted. Lots of people I hadn't talked to in years suddenly had opinions about what kind of person I was. A few cousins defended me but most of the extended family piled on. My aunt shared it and added her own post about how family should forgive and help each other. My uncle commented that I clearly hadn't processed my grief properly and was taking it out on everyone around me. I didn't respond. But my brother-in-law, my sister's ex, did. He commented on her post with a simple message. Tell them why you really lost custody. Tell them about the affair with my brother and the drugs. Everything stopped. I didn't know about drugs. Nobody did apparently. My sister deleted the post within minutes, but people had already screenshot it. My brother-in-law sent me a message privately with more details. Said he hadn't wanted to publicly humiliate her for the kids' sake, but he was done protecting her after she tried to drag me. Turns out my sister had been using pills. Nothing crazy heavy, but enough that it came up in the custody evaluation. Combined with the affair and her not having stable housing, the judge didn't see her as fit for primary custody. My brother-in-law said he tried to keep it quiet because he didn't want their kids finding out someday, but my sister was making him out to be the villain when she destroyed their family. I called him and we talked for 2 hours. He apologized for my mom stealing the ring. Said he tried to lend my sister money for a lawyer, but she wanted more than he could give, and that's when my mom got involved. He didn't know about the ring until after. Then he said something that made my blood go cold. Your mom told her to ask you for money first, and when you said no, she told her the ring was fair game. Said you were hoarding Rachel's stuff and it wasn't healthy. My mom planned it. It wasn't some desperate emergency decision. She convinced my sister I was wrong for keeping my wife's ring and then stole it. I felt sick. Yesterday my mom left a voicemail. She was crying, saying my sister's ex was lying to turn me against them. That the drug thing was exaggerated and just anxiety medication. That I was believing an angry ex-husband over my own family. She ended with, Rachel would want you to forgive me. She'd want you to help your sister get her kids back. You know she would. I deleted it. My sons asked me last night why grandma couldn't come over anymore. My oldest is 8 now and he remembers his mom. I told him grandma took something very important that belonged to his mommy and I can't trust her around our family anymore. He asked if it was the ring mommy used to wear. I said yes. He got quiet and then said, that was supposed to be mine someday. I told him I tried to get it back but couldn't. He didn't cry, but he went to his room and I heard him talking to his little brother about their mom. My youngest doesn't remember her as clearly and it kills me. This morning my sister sent me a text. Hope you're happy. Mom's selling her condo and moving in with Aunt Qley 3 states away. You're never going to see her again and it's your fault. I didn't respond to that either. But then Aunt Qley called me. She wasn't accusatory like I expected. She said my mom showed up at her house with the whole sob story, but Qley didn't believe it. She asked me directly what happened and I told her everything, including the school incident and what my brother-in-law revealed. Qley was silent for a minute and then said, I'm not taking her in. I wanted to hear your side before I made any decisions, but I'm not enabling this. She can figure it out herself. I almost cried. Someone in my family finally believed me. Qley said she'd talked to some of the other relatives who'd been giving me grief and set the record straight. She said my mom burned her own bridges and I had every right to protect my kids. My sister called me after that screaming that I'd poisoned Aunt Qley against them. That I was systematically destroying their lives. I hung up. I don't feel victorious. I feel tired. My kids lost their grandmother because she chose stealing over respecting boundaries. My sister lost her kids because of her own choices, but she'll never admit that. And I'm stuck wondering if I'm being too harsh or if I'm finally standing up for myself and my sons. Someone told me yesterday that I should forgive my mom for my own peace. That holding on to anger would hurt me more than her. But I'm not angry. I'm just done. Am I wrong for refusing to reconcile when they're facing real consequences now? My brother-in-law called me at 2 in the morning 3 days ago saying my sister tried to break into his house. The police were already there when he called. He was calling to warn me that my sister had been screaming my name when they arrested her, saying I was the reason she couldn't see her kids and that I'd pay for ruining her life. He thought she might come after me next. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. Kept checking the locks and the security camera I'd installed after my mom showed up at the school. My sister made bail the next morning. My mom posted it. I know because my mom called me right after, screaming that this was all my fault. That my sister was desperate to see her children and I'd driven her to this by turning everyone against her. She committed a crime, I said. That's not on me. You could have helped us, my mom said. You could have given us a place to stay and none of this would have happened. Your sister is falling apart and you just watch. She made her choices. The affair, the pills, breaking into her ex's house, that's all her. My mom's voice went cold. You're just like your father. Selfish and cruel. Rachel made a mistake marrying you. I hung up. 2 hours later my sister posted my address on Facebook with a long rant about how I was keeping her from her children and ruining her life. Said anyone who wanted to help her fight for justice should contact her. She included my full name and my phone number. I reported it immediately, but it stayed up for 40 minutes before Facebook took it down. Long enough for me to get 6 calls from random numbers and dozens of text messages calling me everything from a narcissist to a child abuser. I called my brother-in-law. He'd already seen it and was documenting everything for the restraining order he was filing against my sister. He told me I should do the same. I filed for one that afternoon. Had to take off work and bring both my sons with me to the courthouse because I didn't trust leaving them with anyone. My oldest asked why we were there and I told him we were making sure grandma and his aunt couldn't bother us anymore. He didn't ask anything else. The temporary order was granted immediately. The clerk said the Facebook post plus the school incident was more than enough cause. My sister violated it that same night. She showed up at my house at 9 p.m. banging on the door screaming that I couldn't keep her away from her nephews. That they were her family too and I had no right. My sons were already in bed but they heard everything. My oldest came downstairs crying asking if Aunt was going to hurt us. I called 911 while my sister kept pounding on the door. She was screaming that I stole her mother and her children and her whole life. That everything was fine until I decided to be vindictive over a stupid ring. The police arrived in 6 minutes. I have it all on the security camera. My sister tried to run when she saw the patrol car, but they caught her at the end of my driveway. She fought them. Took 3 officers to get her in the car. She's been in jail for 2 days now. No bail this time because she violated a restraining order within hours of it being issued. Her arraignment is tomorrow. My mom left me a voicemail yesterday. She wasn't yelling this time. She was begging. Said my sister was having a breakdown and needed help, not jail. That I was the only one who could drop the charges and fix this. That if I ever loved my sister, I'd help her now. I didn't call back. My brother-in-law told me yesterday that he's filing for sole legal custody now with no visitation rights for my sister until she completes court-ordered treatment. He said the break-in attempt plus violating my restraining order proved she's unstable. He feels bad about it for the kids' sake, but he can't risk their safety. Part of me feels bad too. My sister is in jail. My mom is about to be homeless because she sold her condo and Aunt Qley won't take her. My nephews are asking why their mom can't see them. But then I remember my son asking if his aunt would hurt us. I remember my mom's hands on my wife's ring. I remember being told my dead wife would be ashamed of me for having boundaries. Yesterday my oldest asked if we were safe now. I told him yes. He asked if grandma was going to come back and I said no. He nodded and then asked if I still had any pictures of mommy's ring. I pulled up the photos I'd taken years ago for insurance purposes. We looked at them together and I told him about how his mom's grandmother gave it to her and how much it meant to her. He asked if grandma knew that when she took it. I said yes, she knew. He got quiet and then said, "Grandma's mean." I didn't correct him. My mom called again this morning. She was crying saying my sister tried to hurt herself in jail last night. That she's on suicide watch and it's my fault. That I need to drop everything and help before my sister dies and I have to live with that forever. I told her that my sister needs professional help, not me dropping charges. That the consequences she's facing are from her own actions. My mom started screaming that I was murdering my sister and that Rachel was watching from heaven disgusted by what I'd become. I said, Rachel would have protected our sons. That's what I'm doing. Then I blocked her number. Aunt Qley called an hour later. Not about my mom, but to tell me that several family members who'd been attacking me on Facebook had reached out to apologize after seeing my sister's arrest and the restraining order violation. She said some of them felt manipulated by my mom and sister's version of events. I don't care about their apologies. They believed I was a monster without asking my side. But Qley said to accept them anyway because I might need family support later. I don't know about that. The only family that matters to me is my 2 sons. Everyone else proved where they stand. My brother-in-law asked me yesterday if I ever regret filing that first police report about the ring. If I think maybe letting it go would have prevented all this. I told him no, because my mom would have just stolen something else. My sister would have just violated another boundary. The only difference is I'd still be letting them. The permanent restraining order hearing is in 3 weeks. My sister will probably still be in jail. My mom will be there fighting it and crying and telling everyone I'm destroying our family. But my family is already safe at home. And that's all that matters. Am I wrong for not dropping the charges even though my sister's in crisis? The permanent restraining order hearing got postponed because my sister's lawyer argued she was mentally unfit to participate while on suicide watch. I found out through a court notification, not from anyone in my family. The new date is 6 weeks out. My lawyer said it's a common delay tactic, but it means my sister stays in jail longer since she's still being held on the violation charge. My mom showed up at my work 4 days ago. I don't know how she found out where I work now since I changed jobs 8 months ago, but she was waiting in the parking lot when I left for lunch. She looked terrible, hair greasy, clothes wrinkled, eyes red and swollen. She tried to hug me. I stepped back. Please, she said, we need to talk about your sister. There's nothing to talk about. She's dying in there. She's not eating. She's not sleeping. The guards say she just stares at the wall all day. That's not my problem, I said. My mom's face crumpled. How can you be so cold? She's your sister. She made mistakes, but she doesn't deserve this. She broke into someone's house. She violated a restraining order. She doxed me online. Those aren't mistakes. Those are crimes. Because she's desperate. My mom grabbed my arm. Because you took everything from her and she had nothing left. I pulled away. I didn't take anything. She lost custody because of her own choices. She's in jail because she broke the law. Multiple times. My mom started crying. Real tears this time, not the manipulative kind. I have nowhere to go. Your aunt won't take me. I sold my condo. I've been sleeping in my car for 3 days. I felt something twist in my chest, but I didn't let it show. You made your choices too. I'm your mother. You stole from my children. You tried to assault me. You showed up at their school. Being my mother doesn't erase that. She stared at me like she didn't recognize me. Then her face hardened. Your wife would be ashamed of what you've become. Stop using her, I said. You didn't know her. You never even liked her when she was alive. That was true and we both knew it. My mom thought I married too young, that Rachel wasn't ambitious enough, that we should have waited. She barely visited when Rachel was sick. My mom's mouth opened and closed. Then she said quietly, I'm going to freeze to death in my car and you're going to let it happen. There are shelters. There are resources. But I'm not one of them. I walked away. She didn't follow. My coworker who saw the whole thing asked if I was okay. I said yes, but I wasn't. I felt sick the rest of the day. That night my brother-in-law called. My sister's lawyer contacted him asking if he'd write a letter supporting her mental health treatment instead of jail time. Said it would help at sentencing and show the judge she has family support for rehabilitation. I'm not doing it, he said. But I wanted you to know they're going to ask you too. They did. The lawyer called me the next morning. Very professional, very calm. Explained that my sister was clearly having a mental health crisis and that jail would only make it worse. That family support could be the difference between her getting help or getting years in prison. I said no, the lawyer pushed. Said my sister had no prior criminal record, that this was clearly a breakdown caused by losing her children, that the court would look favorably on family willing to help her recover. She's not my responsibility, I said. She's your sister. She made her choices. The lawyer's tone changed, got colder. The prosecutor might be interested in knowing you refused to help your sister during a mental health crisis. Might make you look vindictive. Might make the restraining order seem unnecessary. Are you threatening me? I'm informing you of how things could look to a judge. I hung up and called my lawyer immediately. He said the threat was empty, that my refusal to help my sister couldn't be used against me legally, but to document everything anyway. 2 days ago my oldest son came home from school upset. One of his classmates told him his aunt was in jail and asked if our family was crazy. Someone's parent must have seen the news coverage because my sister's arrest made the local paper. My son asked me if his aunt was crazy. I didn't know what to say. I told him his aunt was sick and making bad choices because of it. He asked if she was going to get better. I said I didn't know. He asked if grandma was sick too. I said yes, in a different way. He was quiet for a long time and then asked if the sickness was why they took mommy's ring. I said yes. I'm glad they can't come here anymore, he said. My youngest doesn't understand any of it. He asked yesterday when he could see grandma again and I had to explain again that grandma can't visit anymore. He cried and said he missed her. My oldest told him grandma was mean and he shouldn't miss her. I don't know if I'm handling this right. Yesterday Aunt Qley called to tell me my mom is staying with a friend from her church temporarily. She said the friend called her asking what happened and Qley told her everything. The friend said my mom could stay 2 weeks max while she figures things out. Qley also said my mom is telling people at the church that I abandoned her, that I'm keeping her grandchildren from her out of spite, that I'm a cruel son who values money over family. The church friend didn't believe her after Qley explained, but others might. I don't care anymore. Let them think what they want. My sister's sentencing hearing is in 3 weeks, before the restraining order hearing. My lawyer said she'll likely get time served plus probation for the first break-in since it's her first offense, but the restraining order violation is more serious. Could be 6 months to 2 years depending on the judge. My brother-in-law told me yesterday that his kids asked about their mom. The youngest doesn't understand why she can't visit. The oldest, who's 9, said he's scared of her now. Said she was screaming scary things the night she tried to break in and he heard it all. Those kids are going to need so much therapy. Just like my sons. Last night I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about my mom in her car, about my sister staring at walls in jail, about my nephews scared of their own mother. Kept wondering if I could have done something different at the beginning. If I'd just given my sister money for the lawyer, would any of this have happened? But I know the answer. It would have just been something else later. Another boundary crossed. Another demand. Another crisis I'd be expected to fix. My wife's ring is still gone. That's what started all of this and it's still gone. My sons will never get it back. That piece of their mother is just gone forever because my own mother decided it was expendable. I can't forgive that. I don't want to forgive that. The court date is coming. My sister will be sentenced. The restraining order will be made permanent. My mom will have to figure out her own life. And I'll be here with my sons trying to help them understand why their family fell apart. Am I wrong for not helping when they're at their lowest point? My sister got 18 months. The judge handed down the sentence 2 weeks ago. 6 months for the attempted break-in at my brother-in-law's house, 12 months for violating the restraining order, to be served consecutively. Her lawyer argued mental health crisis and asked for treatment instead of jail time. The prosecutor brought up the Facebook doxing, the school incident with my kids, and her refusing to comply with previous court orders. The judge said my sister showed a pattern of escalating behavior and disregard for boundaries. Said incarceration with mandatory counseling was appropriate. My sister screamed at me from across the courtroom that I murdered her, that I took everything from her, that she hoped I rotted in hell. 2 bailiffs had to remove her. My mom collapsed in the hallway outside. Actual collapse, not fake. Ambulance came and everything. Turned out her blood pressure spiked and she was severely dehydrated from not eating properly while living in her car. They kept her overnight for observation. I didn't visit her in the hospital. My brother-in-law texted me asking if I was going. I said no. He didn't push. The permanent restraining order got approved 3 days later. My mom wasn't there for that hearing, still recovering apparently. Her lawyer showed up and argued she was no threat, that she was just a grandmother trying to see her grandchildren. My lawyer presented the school incident, the physical altercation, the harassment at my workplace, and the testimony from my neighbor who witnessed her trying to shove past me. Judge approved it for 5 years. No contact with me or my children. She violates it, she goes to jail. Aunt Qley called me after to say my mom was staying with the church friends still, but it wasn't going well. The friend found out my mom had been lying about why I cut her off and was asked to leave by the end of the month. Qley offered to help her find a room to rent somewhere but said my mom refused because she couldn't afford it without selling her car, and without her car she couldn't work. I asked Qley what she wanted me to do about it. Qley said nothing, she was just keeping me informed. Then she said something that stuck with me. Your mom's not going to change. She's going to keep playing victim until someone enables her again. Don't let it be you. I won't. My brother-in-law got sole legal custody finalized last week. No visitation for my sister while she's incarcerated. After she's released, it'll be supervised visits only, contingent on her completing addiction treatment and maintaining stable housing for 6 months minimum. His lawyer said realistically my sister won't see her kids unsupervised for at least 2 years, maybe never if she doesn't comply with the court requirements. My nephew, the oldest one, told his dad he doesn't want to see his mom even when she gets out. Said he's scared of her. The younger one cries about it sometimes, but he's in therapy now. Both kids are doing better away from the chaos. My sons are doing better too. My oldest stopped having nightmares about his grandmother breaking in. My youngest stopped asking when he could see her. Last week he told his teacher that his grandma went away because she was mean to daddy. The teacher called me concerned, but I explained the situation and she understood. We packed up all the photos of my mom and sister yesterday. My oldest helped me. He asked if we should throw them away and I said no. Just put them in storage in case he wanted them someday. He said he wouldn't. Then he asked if we had more pictures of his mom. We spent 2 hours going through old photos of Rachel. My youngest doesn't remember her face clearly anymore and it destroys me, but we're working on it. Talking about her more, keeping her present without the ring. I still think about the ring sometimes. Wonder who bought it from that pawn shop. Wonder if they know the story behind it. Wonder if my wife would forgive me for not protecting it better. But I protected our sons. That's what matters. My brother-in-law and I got coffee yesterday. First time we've really talked outside of legal stuff. He apologized for not warning me earlier about my sister's issues. Said he knew she had problems but didn't realize how bad it was until everything exploded. I asked him if he regretted marrying her. He said no because he got his kids out of it. Said he just regretted not seeing who she really was sooner. I understand that. He asked me if I felt guilty about everything that happened. I told him the truth. Sometimes yes, but mostly no. My guilt is about not setting boundaries sooner. About letting my mom have access to my house and my kids when I knew she didn't respect me. About not protecting Rachel's things better. But I don't feel guilty about the consequences my sister and mom are facing. Those are on them. We're planning to get the kids together soon. His boys and mine. Let them have some normal cousin time without the chaos. They deserve that. My mom sent a letter last week through Aunt Qley since she can't contact me directly. Qley read it first and warned me it was bad. I read it anyway. It was 8 pages of handwritten guilt trips. How could I do this to her? How could I let my sister go to prison? How Rachel would be ashamed. How I was punishing her for one mistake. How she was my mother and deserved respect. How I was keeping her grandchildren from her out of cruelty. How she was going to end up homeless and it would be my fault. I burned it in the fireplace. Qley said there would probably be more letters. I told her not to pass them along. Yesterday my youngest asked me if mommy would be proud of us. I asked him why he was asking. He said his friend's grandma comes to school events and his doesn't and he wanted to know if that made mommy sad in heaven. I told him mommy would be proud of us for being brave and taking care of each other. That we don't need people around who hurt us, even if they're family. That mommy would want us to be safe and happy. He seemed satisfied with that. Last night I couldn't sleep again. Kept running through everything in my head. Wondering if there was a moment I could have changed things. If I just let my mom keep the ring, would my sister still have her kids? Would my mom have a place to live? Would my nephews not be in therapy? But I know that's not how it works. The ring was just the first boundary. If I'd let that go, there would have been another one. And another, until there was nothing left of me or my family to take. My wife died asking me to take care of our boys. To make sure they grew up knowing they were loved and safe. I couldn't save her, but I can do that. That's what I'm doing. My sister has 16 months left in jail. My mom has 5 years on the restraining order. My sons have their whole lives ahead of them without people who hurt them in the name of family. I don't regret my choices. I just regret that I had to make them at all.